2:30, 3 o'clock, we are done. Okay. Now, I want to start with, let's start with the conducting market research, okay? No, let's start with the Africa trade. The conducting market research, I think it's something that I will have every day, because not every day, but every masterclass, because it's something that is very important for every entrepreneur. And this really is about you when you are starting a business. And let me just start with that one. What I've noticed about entrepreneurship in Namibia is that a lot of us, we don't understand the importance of conducting market research for our startups, for our ideas. The market research even starts with your idea, one, or the company name. I received so many emails, and I asked you guys to mention your company in the email. And a lot of you gave me a name and you said, not registered yet. So how many of you here have registered companies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, all right. And the rest of you have business names, but not registered yet, is it? Yeah? Not? You have not picked up the name yet? Please be free to shout. So even coming up with your business name needs some research, because a business name needs to be unique. In Namibia, we have an organization called BIPA. Please, this is part of you taking notes. A lot of us, we don't know where to go when to register our companies. So we have to go to BIPA. So BIPA is a company, a state-owned company under the Ministry of Trade, but it's sort of privatized, so it's not at the Ministry of Trade. It has its own entity with the CEO and everything. And that's actually where you go when you want to register your business name. So what you can do, your first thing you can do is actually go to Google and put in BIPA. I think it's .org or .na, something like that. And then you go through BIPA. So one of the things that you can do on the BIPA website is actually to reserve your business name. If you put in ML Trading, it will show you if this name is taken or is available. If it's available, then you take it, then it belongs to you. If it's taken, unfortunately, you can't use it anymore. You need to come up with a new name. And that's why it's very important for you to register your business name as soon as possible. Because once somebody hears you talking while you are drunk, saying you're going to start a business tomorrow and this is your name, and they go register it, it doesn't belong to you anymore. So this is number one. And this is also part of obviously protecting your business ideas that will come to later in terms of how do you protect your business idea, because that's also one of the things that I see in young people. They are scared to share their businesses because they think somebody else will steal their business ideas. Okay, so you go to BIPA and you reserve a name. The good thing about BIPA for now is that you can reserve your name online. You don't need to go in the office. But unfortunately for you to register the rest of the process, you need to either pay someone, a consultant, or you have to go in and do that process yourself. There's certain document that you need, and then eventually you have your company. Now, it's very important for me because I said, if you are conducting business in Namibia and you don't have a business name, you don't have a company, then you are not actually doing business. Because business is a legal entity. It's not just you moving around selling chicken. Moshe? You need to do it under a company and you are legally trading. Even when people are saying, oh, can I have your invoice? You don't send your name. Now, if I'm doing business with you and you came to me and you send me the name, your FNB debit card number or whatever, then it shows that you're not serious about business. So it's very, very important that before you do anything, register your name and make sure that you have a legal entity that is trading. Okay, so now the other thing is that now you have a business idea. Now the economy is so big and you want to, do business. So what is actually the sector that you are in? I think that's very important when it comes to conducting market research. So you find out that, okay, I want to, give me a business idea. What business do you do? You don't have a business yet? Okay, but you sell, you buy, what is your idea? Why are you here? For information. So you can go start. Okay. Do you have a business? What do you have? Sorry? Photography. Okay. What sector are you in? You don't know the sector you're in. Okay. Renata, what sector are you in? Food, like consumer. Food, consumer. You are in photography. Okay. So you are baking bread. Okay. So you are in the food business service. So first thing is to find out your sector, right? And then you realize that you are not the only one who's doing bread in the country. There's a lot of other people. Some bread is even imported. So maybe the first thing that I always, because we are a net importer of food, especially when it comes to this critical sector, the best thing for you to do is to say, okay, how do I find out the number of bread, banana bread, that is actually consumed in this country? You can find out. One of the very important institutions that you must know as a business person into market research is the Namibia Statistics Agency, the NSA. So they are based in town, but they have a website, nsa.org.now, and they are the mandate is to give you statistics, because they release statistics for the country. They are the main body, they are the only body in the country mandated by the government to give stats. So you could go there and say, oh, I'm doing these bread things and I want to find out how much are we importing, first of all. They will give it to you. Then you realize the amount of money that is coming in the country just for loaf bread or banana bread. Now, if you find out that Namibia is actually consuming, let's say, I will not even be surprised, 10 million of loaf bread, let's say over a month, or maybe over a year. 10 million. That is powerful information, because then you can find out that, okay, of this 10 million, how much do I want? How much do you want of the 10 million worth of that? So it gives you a bit of more empowerment to say, okay, so people are actually eating banana bread in the country, and they're actually paying 10 million to bring it in from South Africa, mostly. And then you find out that, okay, how is it coming in? Of course, most of the food that comes in the country comes through the ShopRite, Pick n Pay, the supply chain of the South African retailers. And that's another, unique type of business model that is sort of embedded within our country, can be or has been actually a challenge for our local entrepreneurs to sort of participate. So it's just to give you this, to say, okay, this bread comes from where and how does it go? And for you to find an entry to say, where do I then position myself? How do I get a market share of this? So this is really critical for your market research. So you already have values. And then you find out that, okay, how much is Pick n Pay selling the bread? So if Pick n Pay is selling the bread for $8, how can you price your bread? Because if you're selling me this bread for $14, why can I not go to Pick n Pay? Because when it comes to the consumer, it's all about the price. I don't care who you are, whether you are my friend, Musha, when I'm in the north, I want coils and I call him up. But I also have to look at other people. If they are cheaper, then I can save $2 on that. So you really have to look at your pricing, the importance of market research. It also comes from the pricing of the product that you are producing or the services that you are giving, so that you can know where to pitch yourself, not to overprice yourself and not to underprice yourself. Okay, now the other thing about the market research is then, what sector am I in? What is this product that I'm manufacturing or producing or selling? Where is it sold most? What is the price? And then you come to the point where, who are the players of this same product in the market? Who are the players and what features do they have for you to actually become competitive, for you to actually align with them? The other main thing that I always say about conducting market research is that you have to get closer to your sector so that you can understand it, but also so that you can be part of it. There are a lot of networking events that are happening. For instance, the Manufacturing Association of Namibia have annual events. Visit them, find out what you need to register so that you can also be part of them. So when you get on their stakeholders list, you are able to actually gain a lot of more information that comes from the sector. And you know, unfortunately, and this is what I tell Namibian young people mostly, is that every sector in the country is organized, or at least every sector that is successful is organized. If you come to the agriculture sector, you find that there are farmers' union from the farmers' level. Farmers' union, then you find that who are the processors, who are the suppliers, who are the import and export, and all of them have associations. And when I do these talks, I like to give an example. I see a lot of young people, especially in the north, they like these t-shirt brands. Everybody has a t-shirt brand. Any name is a brand now, you know. Ontakorwa is a name, Basop is a name, Enjoying Life is a name. And whatever name you have and the value proposition that you have to get into the market, my advice is that it would be good, the 10 of you, 20 of you, to come together and form an association. Find who else is doing bread. Find out who else is doing photography. And come together and come up with an association. When you have an association, you have numbers. And it's only then when you want to put your brand in Pick and Pay, in ShopRite, in Romanbrook, you are able to negotiate with the sector to say, this is how many we are, and this is how many bread we can supply you per month, or per day, or per week. And this is what we want is our price. So there's that type of leadership that we need to create within our sectors. And I think one of the things obviously is who is the leader? Because you need that one person to lead the association. And I always encourage people, it's very difficult, but somebody needs to stand up and say, guys, if you are baking bread, join this association. There's an annual fee, $500 Namibian, and it will get you marketing, what, 3 things per year. So I always encourage everybody here, whatever sector you are, you start within your area. Moshe, you are in Ondangwa, you are doing chicken in Ondangwa, I don't know how many are you there, but the good thing is to actually come up with an association so that you can come up with something we call economies of scale in economics. So economies of scale is actually when they say Namibia does not have economies of scale. We can't supply, or even let's say ShopRite will say, oh okay, I can take your bread, but make sure that I can supply this bread in all ShopRite of the country. That's what they'll tell you. Now you can only supply not even one shop and this is when you come together, you are able to create the economies of scale. You're able to be more and to supply more. And this is actually the trick part for us to start associations of our businesses so that we can grow. Now, Linda here is a beautiful business idea, or maybe she's already doing it, and she's into cosmetics and she wants to do packaging for cosmetics. And I thought that is very brilliant because, now, why do you want to do packaging for cosmetics? Let me first ask. Come here. Sorry, they think I'm... 1, 2.
Okay. I decided on the packaging because I spoke to Pauline from ProLab and she mentioned that she had to wait for so long to get her packaging from SA. So I thought if I could actually sell to them here, then they could get their products on the market faster and not have to wait for collective writing.
That's very brilliant because I'm also waiting now for a couple of weeks. We're importing the products from South Africa. So this is actually how you identify business opportunities, right? So she realized that, do you know how many cosmetics producers are in the country? Okay, good. So at least you have started doing market research, because if you do market research, it will then allow you to understand how many manufacturers of cosmetics are in the country. And I'll tell you now, the last time I checked, we're about 40, moving to 50. Okay, and those are just the recorded ones. And we have an association called Nancy, Namibia Cosmetic Association, and that's where you get everybody. Then you find out that what are these products that are manufacturing mostly. You find that we are manufacturing mostly organic oils and also oils based on Namibian oils, right? And where do we get our packaging? What is the pricing? Where are we selling? It could be a business idea for you to also, if you have a selling point, you can also go to this guy and say, okay, if you're a manufacturer, how much can I buy from you at the wholesale price, and I go sell. It's a business idea as well. So when you do market research, you find out your value proposition, you find out if your business idea actually makes sense, and you find out a lot of opportunities that are there. She realized that this person is taking how many months to get their packaging. If she can manufacture that, she supplies it, and I think that's actually big. You must already move on it, register your company, and start already getting in touch with the people. As I speak, I don't want to be importing my bottles from South Africa. It's so tedious, you know. So if a local company can manufacture that and supply me, that is brilliant. So those are some of the things that you have to look at. So stakeholder engagement is then what you have to do. You are not too sure of the numbers, but now you must already say, oh, so ML is a cosmetic company. I want to sit with ML. So who and who and who. And one time I was giving a class and somebody said, but how do I make sure that, you know, every time I go to people, they shut me down, the doors are always closing. Unfortunately, you just have to keep knocking. Just have to keep knocking. If ML does not respond to you, find another person if they don't respond to you, until you get that one person who can sit with you, who can give you, open the door, and then once you are in, you are able to actually engage everybody. So stakeholder engagement is very important for you to understand the industry. You find out that somebody saying like, no, I'm quitting now this cosmetic things. Now you want to enter and I'm quitting. Why are you quitting? No, it's not. I've been here for 5 years, man, and this thing is just costing me. This is the reason. It will help you. Say, oh, okay. So how can I position myself if I want to enter into this sector? Not to avoid what she did or she did not do to that. So the conducting market research is so important that we don't do enough research before we start. We just have this idea, and most times we think we have the most innovative, brilliant idea. Believe you me, there's so many people that they've already started doing these things, okay? So once you actually get into the sector and you start talking to people who are in the sector, you will find out what is missing and where do you pitch yourself, and how do you improve, and how do you become innovative above what is already there. So that's really that. And the other thing is that you could also pay people. Unfortunately, finance is always the issue, but if you could save up 5,000 to 10,000, hopefully you can pay minimum 5,000 for a desktop market research. It's very important. Every big business that will invest millions of money in this country will never do it without a study. Never. Even if they have the same business in Canada, you know, it's a big gold company. B2 Gold will have the biggest mines in Canada, in Mali, in wherever, but they will never do it without having that study, because that study is so key. It gives you, in fact, that study needs to work for you for the 3 to 5 years at least. The study like with your field. You need to do a study. So Peter, you are in sports. You want to start a sports agency, which I think is really brilliant, because for you, somebody who grew up in outside, you studied outside, you studied sports science, and you have that experience, and you say, okay, I'm coming to Namibia and I want to start a sport agency. I want to get sport people to move in. You see, because you already have the network there. But here, you still need to do a bit of more study, or you can go around the guys here, the coach, the what, just to get your information. If you are a good person from university who knows how to write, you can do it yourself. It's just a market research. You get some questions, you answer yourself, and you can have some basis. So the study I'm talking about is just within your sector, not to just move in something without having any information of it. So that's that. Any questions so far on the market research? Okay, So if I can summarize, it's really to start to have an idea, all right? Okay. Please don't be shy, yeah? We are here to engage.
Yes, don't be shy. For example, what I'm into, my bread is very different from the rest of the banana breads that I've seen in the shops. For example, I think I haven't seen a vegan banana loaf yet, and mine is vegan. So if you have to come up with an association, does that mean everyone remains unique in their bread, or is it like we all do the same?
Very good question. So you find that, I'll give an example of the agriculture sector. I recently met the Organic Association of the agriculture. And you know, for us people, we just go in the shop and we buy cabbage, we buy whatever we buy in agriculture, but we don't really know how it's manufactured and all these things. And then there's somebody who's deeper about what they want to eat. And they do organic agriculture, meaning anything, all the input, ingredient, fertilizer, water, whatever they are using, needs to be so organic that this product is organic. And they have an association where they actually, because they want to start a sector that promotes organic products. And they want to appeal to people that have conscious eating habits. So I don't care what cabbage which came from, but you care that it's organic cabbage. So you go to, so it matters. So now that you're vegan, I don't know if vegan is your value proposition or not. Do I buy your bread because it's vegan, or I buy your bread because it's bread and it's nice? I didn't even know you sell vegan bread. I don't know what made it vegan. So again, it's really you saying that having that banana bread vegan, does it matter to the next person? And what makes it vegan? Is it the eggs that you're using that is, what is it that is, there's no eggs, there's no, you know, there's no other things. So, and obviously looking at the vegan, what do you call it? There's this, you know, big thing about vegan now. And not just white people anymore, but black people are now becoming vegan, health conscious and stuff like that. So you could start a niche. And you might not start off with an association because you might not be many, but if you find out there's another person who's into vegan, and another, that's how you actually capture yourself. So the association I'm talking about is really when you know who are your players, how many are you, and you say, oh, can we come together and actually try to have an association so we can do much more and set up a sector. A lot of times for you, especially for the cosmetics, you know, there's things like standards in the industry for you to manufacture. And you find out that for Namibia to have a cosmetic sector that has standards, it needs to be done by the producers. So we as cosmetic producers have to come together and go to the standards institution and come up with our own standards. That way, it also controls that not anybody just from anywhere doing anything can come and claim that they are selling a product when you are investing so much in it to have that standard. So this is just to say, once you find yourself that you are many, so that you are not just running alone, and if you want to come up with certain measures, certain, you know, standards of the sector, you have to be at least more than 1, 2, 3 for you to do that. And it takes you a long way, because now you can grow your sector. You can grow your vegan sort of niche sector. So I hope that answers. Any more questions on the market research? Anybody trying to do a market research or have started or have done it and have experienced challenges, or they want to share something before we close this off? Yes.
Maybe your product is only available in the north, or maybe in the south, or maybe in the middle. I think many people drive towards the urban areas because that's where the money is. But you will not believe it. There are people who are capitalizing and making good money who are not even based in an urban setting. So if you are doing the banana bread that is vegan, that is your selling point. It's different, and like I said to Sam now, it's a whole movement. Everybody wants to see what is different about your product. And then sometimes people do not move towards a certain lifestyle because there's no enabling factors. So if there's an enabling factor like a dietary technique that you can introduce, you make it easier for the person to move towards a vegan lifestyle type of thing. So just the element of you and what you table plays a very happy and never ever lose it, because everybody's trying to be like the next person. So as you're moving with a click, then you dissolve and you merge into that click. Always remember the element of you in your product, right?
Definitely, that's very important. What makes you different from the rest? And the data. What is the data telling you? You will realize that, oh, so Windhoek is saturated, but this area is not. You can't find that out if you don't have the data. That's fine.
I just want to go back to the registration part from the business side. I think everybody this is an entrepreneurship masterclass. To become an entrepreneur is because you want to become a registered player that is going to participate in the structured economy, be it the first or the second economy. So that means when you register, there are other statutory requirements that I think lots of young upcoming entrepreneurs, SMEs forget. That is tax. That is statutory requirements. For the love of everything that's good in the world, please know that if you have registered a legal entity, because when you go to BIPA, you're going to register yourself as a legal entity. That means that you've got legal and statutory requirements that you have to comply with. That's why, that's what slips all over. It's extremely important that when you register, they also say that you need to have an accounting officer that is registered with an association of business accountants. There's a reason for it. It's because you have to pay tax at the end of the day. And also that you have to be a registered taxpayer. If you neglect this part of your business, then you don't have business. This is the very easiest and most common way that entrepreneurs fall flat on their face, when they ignore the legal and statutory requirements of their business. And basically what you do, if you don't trade or you don't do any business in a certain given year, your accounting officer can give you that certificate saying that you didn't trade. Otherwise you start working up a tax debt with the taxman, and that is something you don't want. So please look after the legal requirements, get somebody that can do this for you. So if you don't know what, well, I'll come back about that later, your tax issues and what it is to comply, and also the benefits that you get as a business owner, as an individual, and as a business owner, and as an entity with tax. So please educate yourself on tax, educate yourself on statutory and legal requirements as a company. What? Well, I'm basically done, but I'll just quickly encapsulate that very much. Like you said, you still haven't registered your company yet. The first thing that you do when you go to BIPA, you register yourself as a CC or whatever the case may be. But then also you have yourself, your bookkeeper. The bookkeeper is not that you're making money, and unfortunately people feel very overwhelmed that this is too over the top for me, it's too complicated, it's too complex, I'm not a business person. Actually, you are a business person. And that is how you need to review yourself. Get your tax issues underway. Register yourself, get a tax number, and there are benefits there too that you can actually derive as an individual because as a business owner. The other thing is also register yourself as an SME. If you're a small business, go to the Ministry of Trade. Register yourself as a certified SME because there are benefits there too. You get access to certain funds, to certain vehicles and instruments that can help and build your capacity as a small and new entrepreneur. So please do not neglect this part, the boring stuff. And it's not things, and it's all just actually education. Either you know about it or you don't. But the Ministry of Trade, I think it's the Industrial Development Agency, NIDA, go to these people, these trade promotion officers. Ask them, what do I need? Go to BIPA. What do I need to register myself as, how do I register myself as an SME? How do I register as an employer? Even if you've just got 2 employees, you need to register for the Social Security Commission as an employer, for example. And there are benefits there too. So please do take that.
I wanted to just speak a bit on the market research part. I think a key thing to conducting market research is also conducting customer research. knowing this is the product or service I'm offering, who are my customers or who are my potential customers. And it's very easy to say, oh, my customers are young, but then you need to break it down to the finest detail that you can. Who are these young people? Where do they stay? What are the age bracket? What are they interested in? And all of those kind of stuff. And then will then help you either refine your product even better or know how to sell it to these young people even better. So if you know your target market is young people, the chill and cross market, you are then able to say, how do I go to cross market every Friday when my target audience is there in order for me to market my product? If you know your target market grannies in the old age homes, you are then able to see what are the old age homes in the good, how do I target those to market and sell my product? So I think customer segmentation is something that we forget, but it's also very, very key because without that, you essentially don't have a business. And like I said, don't take the easy way out of just saying it's young people, it's old people. Break it down to the finest detail that you can, and trust me that it's going to help your business model.
I just want to give you a practical tool to use. For example, you said you're into sports and you're into bread. If you're into sports, for example, in Namibia, you want to be a sports agent. You've got your soccer players, you've got your cricket players, and so on. So then you need to go to these federations, either to the Sports Commission, and then actually have an interface directly with the sports people themselves, because they're not represented by an agent, in order for them to understand what to bring and what benefits you bring. But I think, Sam, what you said, if you say my service or my product is aimed at young people, the thing that we use to what we do in marketing agencies, for example, have a customer universe and make a customer universe of at least 20 people and give them a name. Evan is 30 years old. Evan is 30, she earns X amount, she likes reading books and cooking. This is where she lives. She's got 2 children, she's not divorced. You must have a real profile of real people that are going to use your product and service. Because otherwise that is when you get completely lost in the entire universe of young people. There's young people that don't like what you're selling because you haven't actually honed into them. And for your bread, for example, I don't know whether it's a specialty bread or it's just like bread that I need on a daily basis. On the standard spot, like for associations, you need to standardize your offering to a certain standard. The reason why I buy my bread from wherever, it's because it's healthy, it doesn't have GMO, or it's because it's something that I can afford. There's value and there's cost. I can buy a bread of $15 as opposed to buying a ShopRite loaf of $8 because this bread lasts for at least 2 weeks. It's got the necessary nutrients that I need to feed my children. It's got the necessary fiber that is a recommended daily allowance for children and for adults. These are the type of things you need to be very detailed. Otherwise, you're just going to be in the throng of thousands of young people that want to become business people. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Yes, okay.
Hi guys, just listening to the points you guys made today are very interesting, very insightful. I myself am a business owner in a very unique sort of space, so I didn't have the privilege of registering a business. I just started, and everything else came as I went. All the information, these mythical figures start to come around you with information and resources. But I do understand the fact that you must structure your business and get towards that. I was also encouraged by the people like Deepa that like, look, if you started, just keep going and handle that stuff when you can. So sometimes people get so caught up in the precedence of business and not in sound principles and belief in the work they're about to do. In regards to market research, are there any sort of tools? Because I work in multimedia and we're about to embark on some research that is very, very costly. So are there any tools that SMEs can use to acquire data effectively and affordably?
Thank you so much. Actually, there is, and this is a wonderful question. There is places, NSA, this is the first stop that you should go for your data. But actually you can build your own data. And this is the most beautiful thing. And it doesn't need, it's not complicated. You literally take a piece of paper, you come up with a questionnaire, 50 questionnaires. So you come up with, that's already a sample size of 50 people. So if you go into your target area, I mean, if it's young people, God help me, that's everything from Tom and his dog. So you either go 20 people at the nest, and then maybe you just go around town and just ask for people to fill out a very basic questionnaire. But what I would tell you about questionnaires is that to understand what is an open-ended question and what is a closed question. Because you must understand the data that you're going to collect. What must it tell you? You need to understand what you want to know in order for you to decide what type of questions you're going to be asking. And that is the data that you're going to be collecting. So, and also, another thing, SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey is the easiest. It's a free online tool. You go on SurveyMonkey and you can make up your own questionnaires, and you can send them off by email or via WhatsApp or SMS. Or you can just go out on your Facebook page, for example, and say, guys, I'm doing market research about this and this. This is my business. This is what I want to achieve. That is another thing. Please be clear on the objective of your business. In Oshwambo, I sell. I'm a businessman. I'm not a chef. Bullshit. Be clear on what you want to do and what you want to. Making money is noble, but it's a process. You go onto your Facebook page and you say, I am now going to be a sports agent, or rather, I'm thinking of starting a sports agency. What do you think? And I'll give a voucher of dinner for two at www. or wherever it is, or just a streetwise two, whoever wants to take part. And then you'll be surprised at the type of data you're able to collect. So be very creative on how to collect data. You can do it yourself. Just be clear on what you want to do, what the data is supposed to inform, in order to be able to craft the questions that is going to collect.
Thank you very much.
Also the mouthpiece.
Yeah, okay, thank you. She's from the multimedia. Thank you. I wanted to also share, so for me, I have a cosmetics company and I want to import, to diversify. So I got somebody who wants me to source jojoba oil, okay? So I'm very scared because now I need to part way with sort of 20K. Will it sell? Do people know about jojoba oil or not? So I went on my Twitter and I put up questions. So Twitter is also one of this tool where you do questions. Sometimes it's a yes or no, or sometimes, especially when you just. So I just did that, and do you know jojoba oil? Yes, no. Have you used it? Yes, no. Would you pay? How much price will you pay? Then you put up the price. You get the percentage of the people that would rather have. And do you know the property? Would you like to try it? So it was like that, and it gave me confidence that the answer that I got is that we don't really know jojoba oil in this country. We don't have it. A lot of us have heard of it, and a lot of us want to try it. So my consignment will be coming soon. Thank you so much for the inputs, and this is really more or less the summary of this session in terms of market research. It's very, very important because it just gives you that clear understanding, where am I as I'm standing here with my business, with my idea. So register. A lot of us on Twitter and social media, we like to comment on things that are very far from us. We talk about business, we don't have land, government. Have you registered a company? Have you applied? Even your local governments at home, in the village, in your region, have you applied for a piece of land to do agriculture? Have you? No. But somehow you have so much to say how we don't have land. You'll be surprised. Yes, you will never get that big farm there. Believe me, me and you will never get it in our lifetime. But at least we can get 5 hectares there somewhere to do agriculture, right? But apply. So register and apply. SME, register yourself as an SME and register for tax. One of the examples we were having at my work, we had a delegation of musicians association, and I'm a musician myself, so I could relate a lot to what they were saying. So these guys came to, so I work for the Office of the President, so they come there, the highest office, and They have all these things that they want and what they are not getting and how the sector is neglected. And one of the things that unfortunately in this country we cannot trace or look at or understand is that how much do artists or how much does the creative industry contribute to the GDP? And that was one of the questions that they themselves could not even answer. And the tax thing is so important that government, when government is looking at so many sectors, and they're looking at 5 sectors to save, which sector do you think they'll save? The one that gives them money by end of the month. Because they also need to run the country, isn't it? So the takeaway was that artists, let's register companies. And when we go perform, we give invoice on a company, and eventually you will reach a threshold that pay tax. Now, the Nigerian sector, for instance, which is one of the brilliant, always example to give, case study, is that the South African economy was the biggest economy in Africa until the Nigerian economy took over. And the only thing that made it took over is the art industry, entertainment. Because somehow when they started getting in, they started seeing so much money and the ripple effect that it has on the young people, on everybody, and it has suddenly this value that the government could account for. And right now, if you look at the Nigerian and how they do their international trade, which is the next topic we are moving into, they are so connected to the industry. I went to, I think it was Egypt for Intra-Africa Trade Expo, and the Nigerians tent, they had Debunch, they had Two-Face, they had a couple of artists who came part of trade, because they know that is one of their selling point to the world is the music and the movies. They know that is their most exported product. Of course, we had beer and beef. Did you hear that? Which is still good. Beer and beef is our main export of the country. You know, so the country then sponsors Meatco and they sponsors Namibia Brewery because they know that that's where they're getting their money currently. But the others, they sponsor the others. So that's really that, because they can see the number that, wow, this sector is really making money and is bringing that much money. And then of course this is very important, that consumer market research, even though you have the data and everything else, where your consumers, who are your target market? And what is it that they want? How is the packaging they want? What is so don't forget this one. Niche market, what is your value proposition? So me and you are all doing photography, but what makes you unique from me? So your value proposition, what do you do? Maybe you only shoot old age people. And then you go there and then you own that and stuff like that. I don't know if that's a value proposition, but you have to have that. To apply for opportunities, you have to be a registered entity. A lot of opportunities in the paper, everywhere in government, you can't get hold of them because you don't have a registered company. Stakeholder engagement is very important. Once you cover that ground, you will know 1 or 2 people who are in your sector. And then once you engage them, eventually your target is over 3 years, you are also in the sector, you also register as part of the manufacturing association, and before you know it, you're also getting a lot of benefits that comes with that. And this is just the two of the, if you have an association in your area, in your sector, try to join that and understand your sector, what is happening there. Even just the economic growth, how is the sector growing? Believe you me now, after Corona, one of the sectors that I know that I have been following that has been resilient, and I feel like if it's an experiment, it's actually people from this sector, is the digital sector. The digital sector has become even more strong, and you see how we went through lockdown. Suddenly we were all ordering through online. Every company in the country suddenly had a website, had a number to order, they could deliver because they couldn't survive if they didn't have all these things. And before that, you can send an email, they'll never reply to you because they are dealing with clients on the floor. So, you know, times change things and you have to adapt to that. Tools, SMEs to acquire for data, I think that was covered. Go to your national statistics. Don't go to unverified documents. Go to Namibia Statistics Agency, let them give you the data. It's free, by the way. You just send them an email, and then they give you the data. If you can't analyze data, get somebody who can analyze data for you. And then, of course, you can do your survey or own on social media and all this. And I just put this thing to say that I hope you had all saw how the retail sector has been shifting. You know, back in the day, our mothers used to have all these credit cards. And I think everybody, we all came debt cards and what and what. I actually canceled all my credit cards like long time ago. And I'm not the only one. The new generation now, I saw the rise of boutiques, where you find that a lot of retailers are actually closing down because the clientele is going down, but we're still wearing clothes. Where are we getting our clothes? You find the rise of boutiques. And it's just a disruptive industry. And if you are in selling clothes and you're not sort of monitoring this type of thing, and this is really reading, watching news, you know, just being present. So this is the last thing, being present, reading, and just observing your sector, see how it's growing. You can't be trying to set up a shop when you know it's not working anymore. You might as well start an online thing where people order. That's the new thing. Rather start that than trying to secure a warehouse somewhere. By the time you secure it and you pay for it, you're even out of business, you're broke. So those are some of the things in summary when it comes to market research, conducting market research, and just understanding your business and where you are. Okay, unless we have one more last input, I want us to move to the most exciting thing.